Hello, welcome to More Yoga with me, Emily. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you're doing well and that your week, month, I don't know when you're going to watch this, but I hope that that is going well for you also. I thought today we would play just a little bit with mobility throughout the whole body, so we don't have a lot of time to do that. I know that's promising quite a bit, but sort of just a head to toe bit of yoga. So that being said, let's start lying down. If you have blocks, they could be handy at some point in the practice. If you have a pillow, that could be really useful as well. And then once you're down, maybe you have a last few wiggles that you need to get out, or a big yawning stretch. Depends on sort of the time of day that you come into the practice as well. And you might choose to be here with your legs stretched, or you could bend your knees, maybe let the feet go quite wide so that the knees can hang in toward each other. That way you don't have to use any muscular activation to keep the knees bent. Some of you might choose to take the soles of the feet together and the knees wide. So wherever you need to go. And then for a few breaths, take a little inhale through your nose and exhale, sigh your breath away. A couple more. And continue breathing however you need to, whether it's in and out through your nose or your mouth. Notice your breath. So really observe your inhale and your exhale. Notice if you're carrying any tension or even pain somewhere in your body. Can you imagine sort of sending your breath into that area? Which can be strange if like your calf is cramping, but it's more sending your attention into that area as you breathe. And sometimes it can help allow the tension to release. Maybe it helps ease pain. If it does the opposite, then maybe don't focus on the painful part. Part of the practice of yoga is just acceptance. Acceptance of your body, however it might be on any given day. Acceptance of your breath. Acceptance of your mental state. Plus all the other stuff that's happening off of the mat, right? Just acceptance, and it doesn't mean you have to like it, but just acknowledging what is going on. Last breath here. And then start to deepen your breath. Apparently I'm going to have a big yawn. You might take a little windshield wiper of the knees from side to side. And then when you're ready, draw your knees into your chest and take a little rock from side to side. You can massage out the base of the spine and the pelvis. You can draw circles here with your femurs and your hip sockets. You might take big circles. You might go the same direction. You might go opposite direction, whatever you need. And then bring your feet back to the floor. Let's wake up the core a little bit. So hands can be wherever you want them to be, but all we're going to do is these heel drags. So find that space of the lower back. So you're not, or rather notice if there's space there, and then press your low back into the floor. So you can already feel, right, release and press, release and press. You feel that subtle engagement of the abdominals, especially the deeper core. And then slowly start to extend one leg out onto the floor, keeping the press of the low back to the earth, and then drag the heel back. And then the other side. And this can be a safe thing or variation for those of you who maybe are pregnant. Not that core stuff is unsafe, but it can just lead to diastasis recti. Some of you might choose to lift the knees or the feet off the floor and extend the leg, but really keep pressing your low back into the earth. Last option is to bring your fingertips sort of behind the ears. You don't need to interlace the hands behind the head. Keep the elbows wide. Keep the chest nice and open. And then think of just lifting the upper back or the shoulder blades off the earth. Rather than looking forward, think of looking up to the sky. So wherever you are, last couple breaths here. And return to center. Whew. Little rock from side to side. The transversus abdominis. That's the one I was trying to think of, the really deep abdominal muscles. Right? You have a bunch of them. So there's the deep one, the transversus. And then you have the obliques, which are the ones that go side to side. And then you have the rectus abdominis, which is what we'd think of as the traditional six-pack. Anyway. Enough anatomy lessons for today. Maybe you rock and roll up and down your spine. Maybe you roll to one side. But eventually make your way to hands and knees. Sitting up with knees underneath hips. Toes can be tucked or untucked. Little draw of belly button to spine. Hands nice and wide, so outer shoulder width apart or wider. And then inhale, lift the tailbone, hollow through the lower back, broaden through the collarbones. And exhale, round through the spine. Press the floor away from you. Inhale to dip the belly. And exhale, round. So a few more of these undulations on your own time, on your own breath. And you might start to take a little wiggle of the tail from side to side. Maybe you start to go into some barrel rolls through the chest. Maybe you're just sticking with cat and cow. But move however you need to move here for a few more breaths. And then slowly come back to center. Find that little lift of belly button to spine. And then plant your left hand down as you inhale. Pick the right arm out to the side. Maybe you twist and open up to the sky as you exhale. Thread underneath the left. Press back into that left hand. Inhale all the way up and open. And exhale, twist. One more time. Exhale, twist. And then start to settle towards the floor. Now you can keep your right arm really close to the left wrist, or if you want, you can think of sending the arm back toward the knee. Whatever you think is going to be more interesting, more comfortable for you today. You might come onto the back of the shoulder, the side of the head. You can always bring a pillow or a block underneath you just to bring the floor up to you. From here, get curious about what that left hand wants to do. I like sometimes grabbing my right hand or just bringing the heel of the hand into the crease of the right wrist and sort of pushing away and get more traction on the back of the right arm. Some people I really know really like draping the top arm behind them or walking the fingertips up to the top edge of the mat or around wherever you need to go. A few more breaths. And then slowly bring the left hand back underneath you. Press into the floor. Inhale, back up. Ah. And then a little wiggle, cat and cow, or shake it out. And then we'll switch sides. So really plant that right hand. Inhale the left arm out, maybe up. Exhale, thread underneath. And then back. Inhale up and exhale, thread. One last time. And then cozy down toward the floor a little bit more. Again, you might bring a block underneath your head or underneath the shoulder. This left arm might be all the way up at the right hand, or you might bring it back toward the knee. And then play with what you want to do with that top arm. Last breath here. And bring the right hand back to the floor. Press yourself back up, hands and knees. Little wiggle or shake or cat and cow. You might stay here if you'd like to, moving and grooving. Some of you might choose to take the knees wide, send the hips back toward the heels for child's pose. Still others might choose to take downward facing dog. So go wherever you need to go for a few breaths. If you're joining me in downward facing dog, you could pedal the heels toward the floor, or you could be still, right? And that actually goes for any position that you're in. Maybe you're in movement, maybe you're in stillness. And then if you're in child's pose, gently make your way either to hands and knees or to downward facing dog. And bend your knees, look forward. Take as many steps as you need to come to the top edge of your mat into a standing forward fold. Here you might bring blocks underneath your hands, or you could rest your elbows on your knees or thighs. If you want more traction through the spine, you could clasp opposite elbows with hands. Make sure you're not locking the knees back though, that there's still a micro bend. There's still that buoyancy in your knees. And then release your hands with your fingertips to the earth, or maybe blocks, or maybe your shins. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, let it go. Couple more. And then bend your knees. Think of your head super heavy, arms super heavy. Slowly start to roll up to standing. One vertebra at a time. Chin tucked into your chest the entire time, so that eventually, when you come all the way up, maybe a couple loops of the shoulders, up, back, and down. So one thing that I see often in classes, and in particular with students who are newer to the practice, which is totally normal because you want to see what's going on, is you come up like this. Right? You're trying to see what's going on, but I want you to tuck the chin and the head heavy so that you get that beautiful sort of serpentine movement through the spine. Anyway, don't worry about it. Shake that a little bit. Feet hip width apart. And then inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky. Exhale, dive or fold down to the earth. Forward fold. Inhale, little partway lift, fingertips to shins. Exhale, fold. Charge your legs. Inhale, sweep all the way up to the sky. And exhale, hands to prayer. Same thing. So the very first part of the sun salutation, exhale, fold. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands to prayer. One last time. And release. You might pause here, hands at your chest or maybe by your side, eyes open or closed. Feel what you feel. Notice whatever you notice. And then shake it out. Open your eyes if they're closed. Send all the weight to your right leg. I feel a little buoyancy on that supporting leg. Right, I'm kind of exaggerating that movement. And then pick up the left knee without the hip hiking up. Just a couple easy pulses here. The supporting leg, you can even kick the heel of the bum, lean forward. And keep the pulses going. It's a slightly more functional position, but kind of up and down here. And then pause, extend the leg, couple pulses of the supporting leg. Make sure that you're not leaning back to do this or buckling under, right? I guarantee no one cares how high your leg is getting. So just keep the leg a little bit lower. And if you're feeling a lot of tension in the hip flexors, think of pulling the heel in to lift up. Okay, and then bend the knee. Inhale here. Exhale it to the side. And back. And out. And back. And then start to do big figure eights or circles or anything you need to do here. Right? Playing with the balance on that right leg, but with the mobility in the left leg. Okay, and then interlace your fingers across that left shin. Lift it a little bit higher, the knee toward you. Ooh, maybe you bend the supporting knee and curl towards your knee. And then stand up and release and shake it out a little bit. And then we'll go to the opposite side. So weight goes over to the left foot. Find that buoyancy on the supporting leg. Pick up the right knee without the hip hiking. Take a few pulses of the supporting leg. You can play with leaning forward or standing straight. And then slow those down. Extend the right leg. Take a few pulses of the supporting leg. And again, it doesn't matter how high that leg is getting. You just don't want to cramp here or compensate for that leg lifting. And bend the knee again. Inhale here. And exhale it to the side. And back. And out. And back. And out. And then maybe you start to draw big circles or figure eights. Notice how my supporting knee is bending here to support the movement in that right thigh. Right, so it can compensate, help the stability. Whoa. And then come back to center, interlace your hands over top of that right shin. Draw the knee higher toward you. Maybe you stay here, maybe you bend the supporting knee a little bit and then curl your nose toward your knee. It's so wobbly. Inhale back up and release. Shake it out a little bit. Whew. Feeling that in my glutes. Turn to face the wide side or the long side of your mat. You can adjust the camera if you need to. And then take your feet wide, but toes turned out. And then on your inhale, sit down into a wide leg squat. So the first thing that I see here often is people up really high with the knees coming forward. So think of sitting your bum back, right? The torso will come forward, tailbone down slightly, and then you want your knees to go back to the baby toe edges of the feet. And in fact, you can bring your hands to the inside of the thighs and kind of press the legs back. So you're working, but you're also getting a little release through the adductors. Okay, now start to dip the right shoulder down. Really press that right thigh back, twist to the left. And then inhale back to center. Opposite side, dip the left shoulder, press the left thigh back. And then inhale center. And then maybe you speed it up. Maybe you stay on one side. And inhale all the way up. Shake it out a little bit. Now I want you to turn the feet in. So the heels go out and the toes stay a little bit turned in here. Bend the knees a little bit. Belly button to spin. spine, hands on hips. Slowly start to fold forward here. Now this is a really great place to bring something underneath your hands to lift the floor up to you, particularly if wide leg forward fold is not your forte. Maybe your hands come to the earth. Maybe they come to your ankles or toes, or you can walk behind. But the one thing I don't want you to do is don't don't press your feet out. If anything, think of hugging the feet back to the center line, and then you're not just sort of jamming open through the sacrum. Maybe some of you are down on forearms. Maybe the crown of the head is on the earth. Wherever you need to go, couple breaths here. And then bring your left hand to the floor or to a block, kind of right underneath your face. Hug the legs toward each other. Inhale, our right arm out to the side. Maybe open it all the way up to the sky. And exhale down. 2 more. The hips will shift as you do this. That's okay, as long as you don't feel pain. And then right hand comes to the earth or blocks. Inhale, left arm maybe to the side, maybe all the way up. Depends on how your shoulders feel, how the hips feel. You could be on your palm, you could be on fingertips. And then come back to center. Slowly start to heel and toe your feet back together. A little bounce, shake. And then fingertips to shins. Inhale, little partway lift and fold. Charge your legs. Inhale all the way up to the sky. And exhale, hands to prayer. Shake it out a little bit. Let's do a little bit more balancing, then we'll come down and ease things out. See, it goes so fast. We haven't even really done whole body, but it's okay. Send the weight over to your right leg. And then pick up the left leg. You're going to kick your heel to your bum and grab the foot, either from the outside edge or the inside edge with that left hand, whatever one works better for you. Now don't let the knee wing out, right? Think of hugging the legs or that left leg back into center. Think of setting your kneecap straight to the floor and then pull the heel toward your bum a little bit more. Wrap the shoulder onto the back, squeeze the bum. Yeah, maybe use both hands on there. Then you can really get an opening through the chest as well. You can always counterbalance with the right hand. If you want to go into dancer's pose, then you can tip forward and lift the back thigh if you wish. I'm getting a lot of benefit here just through the quad stretch, so that's where I'm going to stay. Yeah, I like the outside of the foot better. Last breath. And then slowly release. Shake it out a little bit. One of the benefits of holding the inside of the foot versus the outside is it means that the shoulder can't roll forward. It keeps it open, right? Because this supination of the hands is technically only in the forearm, but it encourages opening through the shoulders as well. So weight to the left foot, pick up the right foot, wrap the shoulders onto the back, whether you're grabbing the outside or inside edge, right? Hug the legs toward each other. Right knee goes down rather than out to the side. And then hug the heel toward the bum a little bit more. Squeeze the bum, because then you get into the quads that go across the hip flexors as well. You can counterbalance. You can go into full dancers if you want. You can always have a hand on the wall for extra balance. Grab both feet, whatever you need to do. Last couple breaths here. And release. Shake it out a little bit. Okay, heel until your feet mat width apart. If you're facing the short edge of your mat, otherwise don't worry about it. So think shoulder width apart. Toes turned out, and then sit down into full squat. Now, if this is not where you would like to be today, if this is not a good place for your body, don't worry about it. Go back to where we were with the quite the wide leg squat. You can lean your elbows on your knees or your thighs. Otherwise, if you're here with me, feel a little buoyancy here. So if you had to stand up, you could. Wrap the shoulders onto the back. Can you de-weight your big toes so that you're not rolling into the arches of the feet? Last couple of breaths. And then bring your hands in front. And then kind of do this little duck thing so that you come down to hands and knees. Little wiggle or a shake out. Okay. And then slowly make your way onto your belly. Little wiggle of the hips from side to side. Untuck your toes. Press the tops of the feet into the floor. So much so you feel your kneecaps lift away. Send your tailbone to the back wall, belly button to spine. Inhale, reach your heart forward and up. Hands could press into the floor. You might let them hover, or they could reach back behind you, either palms up or down, or whatever you need. Some of you might stay here. Some of you might reach the legs so far back that they de-weight as well. Try not to let them fling out to the side. So keep hugging them back to where the center line. Squeeze the bum a little bit more. Lift everything up. Exhale. Release down. Deep belly breaths to release through the lower back. And then make your way onto your back again. So we'll end the same way that we began, on our backs. Hug the knees into the chest, little rock from side to side. I always like ending with a twist. So your feet could come to the floor for a twist, or maybe you keep them hovering, whatever works. You might shift your hips to the right a little bit to start with. Right arm goes out to the side, and then as you exhale, lower your knees to the left. Now your knees could be stacked. You could take a single leg twist. You could cross the legs. Whatever's going to feel best on your body today. Your knees could be quite far away from you. You could draw them up closer. You might even rest your left hand on that top knee or thigh. And then maybe you look along your right arm just to finish off the spiral in your neck. And then slowly inhale, come back to center, reset your spine, your pelvis. Maybe you shift the hips left to start with, left arm out to the side, and lower your legs to the right. And again, any variation of twist. It needn't be the same one on this side that you did on the first. Maybe you look along the left arm. Last couple of breaths here. And then slowly inhale, come back to center. Reset your spine, your pelvis, and then hug both knees toward you. Take your knees wide out toward your shoulders or armpits. And that space that we were compressing into the floor at the start of the class, find that now. So lift the low back off the floor a little bit. You could stay here, and maybe you kick the feet to the sky, grab the backs of the thighs, or anywhere along the feet or the legs for happy baby. Again, make sure you're not really pressing your low back into the floor. You don't have to exaggerate the space in the low back. We're just trying to keep the spine in neutral rather than in flexion. And then if there's anything else that you feel like you need before your rest, posture or maybe a meditation or breath work, feel free to take it. Otherwise, think about where you would like to go for your rest, whether you stay on your back, you could rest on your side, child's pose, maybe in a seated meditation, wherever you need to be. And then for 3 breaths, inhale through your nose, exhale, sigh, and breath away. With each exhale, allow your body to melt a little bit deeper into the earth. Let go of any last breath control, any residual muscle gripping or tension. And stay here longer if you can, 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.